The influencer my husband liked came to me, saying she had fallen in love with him and begged me to show mercy. I did pity her, so I quickly divided our assets, divorced him, and even helped them get their marriage certificate. At their wedding, I gave them a grand gift. I played my ex-husband's stomach cancer diagnosis report on the big screen. 01. Ethan and I had been married for 3 years, and our relationship had always been strong. So when I saw the photo of him kissing a strange woman on my phone, I couldn't believe my eyes. I asked a friend to confirm the photo wasn't photoshopped, and my heart gradually sank. I traced the sender's phone number, and their Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok accounts all surfaced. They were blatantly flaunting their affection with Ethan. Although Ethan's face was blurred out, I instantly recognized him. That mistress actually dared to show up at my door. I spent an entire afternoon watching all of that mistress's videos and posts. She's built herself a motivational girl persona online, diligently selling healthy snacks and running her e-shop quite successfully. She and Ethan have been together for a year now. During this year, Ethan often pretended to be on business trips when he was actually having romantic getaways with her. They've traveled all over the country together, leaving their footprints at countless viral social media spots. Our country's magnificent rivers and mountains have been defiled. 02. I was in a terrible mood, but after glancing at the gastric cancer diagnosis report beside me, suddenly, it didn't feel so bad anymore. At that moment, the phone rang. Chloe, you know who I am, right? I'm sorry, I don't want to disrupt your marriage, but I'm pregnant now. I can't let my child grow up without a father. Please, you have to help me. Chloe, have some pity on me, she pleaded through the phone, weeping like a rain-soaked pear blossom, appearing utterly fragile and pitiable. My blood pressure instantly spiked. Suppressing the fury in my heart, I calmly asked, how can I know your pregnancy is real? You doubt me? I'll send you proof right now. After some manipulation over there, an ultrasound scan photo was sent over. Chloe, look, he's already fully formed. I just can't bear to abort him. He's already a little life. Ethan doesn't love you anymore. Chloe, won't you let go? I glanced at that so-called cancer diagnosis report. Don't get mad, don't get mad. No point quarreling with a dying man's future widow. Yeah, right. I continued, then how can you prove the child is Ethan's? An eerie silence hung on the phone before she finally dropped the act. After I've been calling you Chloe all this time, she scoffed. Ethan said you were cultured, but clearly that was an overstatement. Believe what you want, that child is Ethan's. Don't believe me? Wait until the baby is born, we can do a paternity test. I said faintly, there's no need for that. The baby's birth is still far away. It's not good for a child to bear the stigma of being illegitimate. The mother's mistake shouldn't be burdened by the child. How about this? You swear an oath that if the child isn't Ethan's, you'll be hit by a car when you step outside. Then I'll believe you. A sharp intake of breath came through the phone, quickly followed by a rapid string of curse words. Chloe Miller, fuck you and your dream of getting hit by a car. You worthless bitch, you don't want kids yourself, yet you're stringing Ethan along and refusing to let other women bear his children? I curse you with 10 lifetimes of infertility. I held the phone slightly away from my ear and casually pressed the record button. 03. After recording enough evidence, I forwarded the audio file to Ethan. It wasn't long before Ethan hurriedly arrived. Chloe, I'm sorry, I never expected her to show up at your door like this. I'll definitely handle this properly, just give me some time. I was under too much stress during that period, and momentarily lost my judgment. I told her not to bother you. He rattled on with his explanation, clearly having rehearsed these words countless times in his mind. Not a single stumble in his speech. Yet the more I listened, the more alarmed I grew. If that woman named Skylar hadn't been stubborn about it, just how long did he plan to keep playing both sides? And does stress really justify cheating? When I was stressed, all I got was a face full of breakouts. Why is that? I can't listen to this anymore. I abruptly cut him off. She's pregnant. Ethan opened his mouth but remained silent. I sneered inwardly, squeezing out 2 lines of tears from my eyes. Ethan, let's part ways amicably. Let's get a divorce. 04. I found a lawyer at the fastest speed possible and started preparing the divorce documents under his advice, while also scheduling an appointment at the city hall to process the paperwork. I handed the property division agreement to Ethan. To be honest, this agreement was quite disadvantageous for him. Of the 3 properties, I took 2. We each got 1 car. All the cash, funds, and stocks went to me. In other words, apart from 1 house and 1 car, he was left with nothing. Actually, I really wanted him to leave with nothing, but considering how complicated that would be, I had to make some compromises. His lips trembled, his fingers shook, and his eyes turned red. Chloe, I won't divorce. I admit I was wrong. Give me one more chance. I'll handle all these matters properly. My eyes grew moist, and my heart wasn't entirely unmoved. Unfortunately, I have emotional germophobia. The mere thought of him having a child with Skylar is something I simply can't bear. Even if I force myself to let go, I'm afraid I'll live in suspicion and unease every day from now on. Why should I punish myself for someone else's mistakes? Besides, his retribution has already come. Why should I sacrifice the rest of my life for him? He's not worth it. Now that Ethan feels guilty toward me, this is the perfect opportunity to divide the assets. Otherwise, once I forgive him and lower my boundaries, if we ever reach the point of divorce again in the future, he would only think I'm resorting to the same old trick, and whatever guilt he feels now would completely vanish. I lowered my eyes. Do you think I'm asking for too much? If it's about money, you can say so directly. No, it's not about the money. Ethan quickly pledged his loyalty. I was wrong. I'd give you everything if that's what you wanted. I just can't bear to lose you. We've been together for 3 years as lovers and 3 as a married couple. That's 6 years in total. Fine, if you think money isn't an issue, then sign the agreement. Ethan, don't be pathetic. Don't make me lose respect for you. I looked into his eyes, my own brimming with tears. Not only men can deceive, women can too, especially when love turns to hate. Under my gaze, Ethan finally signed his name with trembling fingers. There's still a 30-day cooling-off period, Chloe. I'll be waiting for you to change your mind. If you can manage not to contact Skylar for these 30 days, I'll consider changing my mind. Can you do that? Yes, trust me. Alright, then take leave from work. Let's travel together for a month, and come back after that. Alright, Ethan agreed readily, even starting to discuss travel plans with me and booking flight tickets. Yet he remained unsettled, distracted all afternoon as if trying to show resolve, yet secretly sending messages behind my back. Men. Under my insistence, he went with me to the Civic Center the next day to file for divorce. We only needed to wait until after our trip, for the cooling-off period to end, and everything would be settled. We packed our luggage separately, but he was unusually enthusiastic, meticulously considering every detail. At the very last moment before leaving, the phone rang. His expression changed instantly. He gritted his teeth and hung up. My phone rang. I answered it on purpose, and the other party's voice came through loudly. Chloe, please give Ethan back to me. My stomach hurts so badly. I think I'm dying. Skylar burst into tears. Ethan, my stomach hurts so bad. I think I ate something wrong just now. Am I going to lose the baby? It hurts so much. Please, help me. She shouted help me, yet her voice brimmed with vitality. But Ethan actually believed it. Where are you? Did you call an ambulance? I'll be right there. Frantic with worry, he was about to rush downstairs when I stopped him. Ethan, he halted, his expression more serious than ever. Chloe, this is a life and death situation. Don't try to stop me. I smiled bitterly. Give me back my phone. He froze for a second, returned the phone to me, clenched his jaw, and turned to leave without another word. Chloe, wait for me. I'll be back soon. I'll take this chance to make things clear with her once and for all. He stepped into the elevator as his phone rang again, and this time he didn't decline the call. Sky, I'll be right there. Wait for me. Don't be afraid. How devoted he was. It made me sick to watch. With a cold laugh, I deleted that Instagram story post visible only to Skylar, returning to the places of our youth. The accompanying image is a screenshot of a flight ticket reservation. I never thought I would travel with Ethan to rekindle our old romance. The moment I found out about his infidelity, he was completely erased from my life. I just didn't want to be the villain. Let Skylar take on that role instead. Besides, she's more than happy to do it. I called a moving company to clear out my belongings from the apartment, donating what I could and throwing the rest away. Then, she pulled her suitcase and walked away without looking back. Since she had to play the role of a heartbroken woman, she decided to make it absolutely decisive. That way, Ethan would know exactly how deeply he had hurt her. Not long after checking into the hotel, she saw Skylar's post. Love truly is the best medicine, isn't it? I'll never lose you, right? This time, Skylar was blatant. Ethan's face was clearly visible in the photo, his affectionate gaze even more moving under the enhancement of beauty filters. I saved the picture. These would serve as evidence when I eventually occupy the moral high ground. I hoped Skylar would still be able to boast so triumphantly then. 3 days later, Ethan finally called me. I hung up. He persisted relentlessly. Phone calls, voice messages, video calls bombarding me in succession, as if trying to prove he wasn't someone fickle, heartless, or quick to discard affection. A compulsive performer, overly adept at self-indulgent sentimentality. Only now do I see these flaws in him. If you truly care, you should discipline yourself and uphold your moral principles. He sent a voice message. Chloe, where are you? Did you leave? I know you're angry, but lives are at stake. Please try to understand. Chloe, I know how kind-hearted you are. I'll come find you. Let's go traveling together, okay? I looked at the message and smiled. Seems like Skylar isn't up to it. He only stayed with Ethan for 3 days? To spite Skylar and to make Ethan realize just how deeply he's wounded me, lest he falls ill later and still comes pestering me. I decided to see him one last time. Ideally, it would be the final meeting before we never cross paths again. I arranged to meet at that cozy cafe we used to frequent. He rushed over and looked ready to throw himself at me the moment he saw me. I lifted my coffee mug, threatening to toss it. He froze immediately, his expression shifting. Chloe, don't call me Chloe. It's Chloe Miller. What did you promise me 3 days ago? Chloe, I've already explained. It was a human life. I thought you'd understand. I understand. No, I don't. I even want to pry open his head and see if it's filled with water. She's all right, isn't she? Ethan remained silent. The more I studied his expression, the more alarmed I became. He's not blind. He definitely could tell Skylar did it on purpose. He simply enjoyed the feeling of being desperately loved by a woman, even relished the process of two women vying for his affection. It gave him an immense sense of accomplishment. After knowing him for so long, I had no idea his mind harbored such toxic, chauvinistic garbage. It seems I need to reflect on myself too. Back then, you proposed to me here. Now we're parting ways here. At least it's a full circle. I took off the ring from my finger and handed it to him. His eyes reddened, and he suddenly became emotional. Chloe, everyone makes mistakes. Why are you fixated on one of mine? I've already told her not to bother you again. Then what's this? I zoomed in on Skylar's post photo to show him. His face turned pale. Your persuasion didn't work, did it? Do you know what hurts me the most? That she can call and you'll go running, choosing her over me. Did you ever consider, when you ran to her, whether the heart you left behind would ache? Did it cross your mind that you were slowly erasing all the trust one had in you? Can you honestly promise this won't happen again? Today she has a stomachache, tomorrow a headache. What happens the day after when she comes up with another excuse? Who would you choose then? I stared at him quietly, leaving no room for falsehood. His face turned pale. I'd choose you. Then let's try it. I stood beside Ethan and took a photo with him, sending it to Skylar. Sure enough, 3 seconds later, Ethan's phone rang. Ethan's face turned grim as he tried to hang up. I said coldly, answer it. Chloe, don't be like this. There's no need. Then I'm leaving. I'll answer. He grabbed my wrist and hastily answered the call, his face full of resistance. But a panicked voice came from the other end. Ethan, I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding down there. My stomach hurts so much. She just sent me photos, and I got so angry I think I hurt the baby. It hurts. It hurts so much. Her voice sounded absolutely wretched. Suddenly, Ethan turned his anger on me. Chloe Miller, why would you do this? I'd finally managed to calm her down. I stood frozen. Although this was exactly the outcome I'd wanted, to prevent him from pestering me endlessly even from a hospital bed in the future. Yet now, the hurt felt undeniably real. I said icily, when the cooling off period ends, we'll meet at town hall. Go take care of your true love. 06. For many days afterward, Ethan seemed to have vanished from the face of the earth, leaving not a single trace. At first, I felt a bit sad, but later, I became completely indifferent and at peace. After all these years of marriage, I never imagined things would come to this. Skylar's social media remained silent. Maybe Ethan forbade her from posting, or perhaps she chose not to provoke me further to avoid complications. Either way, there was finally peace. On the 29th day, I sent Ethan a message. I'll be waiting for you at the City Hall entrance at 9 a.m. tomorrow. The reply came quickly. Don't worry, Chloe, Ethan will definitely be there. I let out a cold laugh, drank a sleeping aid, and slept soundly until morning. Early the next day, I put on flawless makeup and drove to the City Hall. When I arrived, Ethan was already there. Standing beside him was a long-haired girl in a white blouse. The two were chatting and laughing. Ethan wore a doting expression as the girl playfully pounded his chest with her petite fists before landing a loud kiss on his cheek. Noticing me, she flashed a provocative smile, only to instantly transform into a docile, demure little bird when I approached, pretending to be nervous. What an actress. Who knows where this drama queen crawled out from? I averted my gaze and looked at Ethan instead. You've got the stuff? Let's go. Ethan's face carried a trace of guilt. Chloe, I'm sorry. It's Chloe Miller to you. Thank you. The color drained from his astonished face. I walked in first, and he followed behind. The agreement had been drafted beforehand with no contentious points, so we quickly completed the formalities. Holding the divorce certificate, I felt profoundly emotional. The marriage certificate had a red cover, just like the divorce certificate. The officials issuing certificates see it most clearly. Both marriage and divorce are ultimately joyous occasions. Breaking free from the past to start anew. No matter how you look at it, it feels like a rebirth. Ethan's sense of guilt grew heavier. Chloe Miller, she was pregnant. Abortion is detrimental to one's health. Mr. Ethan, there's no need to explain so much to me. We're strangers now. I interrupted him. Still, for old time's sake, I must say a few words to you. In this matter, you were the one at fault. If you truly loved me, you shouldn't have cheated during our marriage. If you truly love her, you shouldn't have kept her in the shadows. Now that I've made room for you too, I hope you both can have a good future. With these words, we part forever. I delivered this line with dignified grace, drawing admiring glances from those around me handling procedures. This admiration I truly don't deserve. I'm someone who repays kindness with kindness, and vengeance with vengeance. Betrayed by the person who once shared my pillow, I wouldn't mind seeing his grave overgrown with weeds. Ethan hadn't expected me to say this, and his guilt only deepened. He took a step forward, wanting to grasp my hand. I felt utter disgust. I never knew he could be so clingy. I must have been blind back then. Thankfully, Skylar immediately followed in, firmly linking arms with Ethan and laughing. Thanks for stepping aside. Today's the perfect day for us to get our marriage certificate. This baby in my belly simply can't wait any longer. Oh, and as compensation, Ethan's handing most of his assets over to you. Hopefully, that money helps you build a better life for yourself. She hinted both openly and subtly that Ethan was being very generous, while I was too greedy for money. I chuckled. Then I congratulate you, I said. Everything Ethan and I own is marital property. There's no such thing as him letting me have it. The fact that I haven't left him penniless is already my mercy. I heard Miss Skylar's online store is quite profitable, but as an internet celebrity, you rely on your fans for a living. I wonder how they'd react if they knew you were the other woman who hurled abuse at the legal wife. Skylar's eyes widened, her lips trembling. She looked pitifully charming, but she might have genuinely feared I'd act recklessly. She didn't even argue back. She just whimpered pitifully twice, and Ethan, that big fool, actually stepped forward to defend her. Chloe Miller, I was the one who pursued Sky, and I'm the one who wronged you. If you've got a problem, take it out on me, so I can really take it out on you. I sneered before slapping him hard across the face. Will this do? 07. Ethan was completely stunned. Probably my previous composed and restrained demeanor made him think I wouldn't do anything. But now, with the divorce papers in hand, why should I fear his pestering? The only reason I didn't beat him to death is because I'm a law-abiding citizen, not because I'm good-tempered. This slap is for cheating on me during our marriage. You owe me that. Smack. This slap is for what you took on her behalf. The two of you disgusted me. I didn't blow things up. That was me being decent and letting you off the hook. I want to hit again. Ethan grabbed my right hand, his gaze icy, his face filled with hatred. Enough. Smack. My left hand delivered yet another stinging slap across his face. Ethan was completely stunned, while Skylar screamed, "You're crazy, you're sick." She hurriedly pulled Ethan back. The staff also rushed over and quickly separated us. I pointed at Ethan's nose and yelled sharply, "Ethan, everyone has their limits. When we were together, it was you who said you didn't want children for now. It was you who wanted a world for just the two of us. Now you're telling me she had a child and you want a divorce. You're the one who broke your promise, utterly ungrateful. From now on we have nothing to do with each other. If you dare disturb me again, don't blame me for turning hostile." Those 3 slaps completely shattered every shred of affection between us from the past. Ethan's face darkened, utterly humiliated before everyone's eyes. I originally wanted to save you some face and wait a while before getting married and holding the wedding with Sky. But you've gone too far. Sky, let's go register our marriage. Skylar caressed Ethan's face sympathetically and sneered, "You should be grateful Ethan is a gentleman who doesn't hit women. Otherwise you'd be done for today." I smiled too. I don't bother with gentlemanly manners, I hit women. Want to give it a try? I could kick that baby right out of you. Skylar turned pale with fright. Ethan glared at me fiercely. You're not even fit to hold a candle to Sky. Now that I think about it, divorcing you was absolutely the right decision. He took Skylar's hand and marched straight to the marriage registry without looking back. Me, was this bastard taking a dig at me? Humph. I'd like to see whether his precious Sky would still be the perfect devoted wife when he's lying sick in bed someday. A few minutes later, Skylar deliberately sent me a photo of her marriage certificate. I scoffed, blocked both her and Ethan, and felt a wave of relief wash over me. Good, half the plan is complete. The remaining half depends on when they hold their wedding. Ethan hates me to death, and Skylar is so vain, they'll probably throw a lavish wedding. Sure enough, it wasn't long before our mutual friends started calling me one by one, all confused and asking how Ethan and I had gotten divorced. In their minds, Ethan and I were still the picture-perfect loving couple. I didn't mind the hassle. I told each of them, one by one, that Ethan had been cheating for a year, and that Skylar had come to force me into a divorce. I answered every call and repeated the same story every time, even shedding a few heartbroken tears when the emotions ran high. The tone of the crowd instantly turned subtle upon hearing this. "Chloe, you're truly so sensible. You've really suffered, child." Haven't I suffered terribly? Later, Ethan's call never came, but his parents' call did. "Chloe, when you two got divorced, you took the lion's share. Ethan's in the wrong, so we won't say much about it. Just don't go around telling everyone about our Ethan this and that anymore. It's bad for his reputation. To err is human, to forgive divine. Don't push things too far." 08 I felt blood surging in my chest, my genuine devotion spat upon like scraps thrown to a dog. Having been married to Ethan for 3 years, I'd truly treated his parents with the same filial piety as if they were my own birth parents. I always buy everything in sets of 3, one for myself, one for my parents, and one for Ethan's parents. Not a single holiday gift or red envelope is ever missed. Ethan doesn't even remember his parents' birthdays. It's always me reminding him to send wishes and red envelopes. His parents fell ill, and I was there running back and forth, serving tea and water, hiring caregivers to provide meticulous care. Back then, they swore solemnly, if Ethan ever wrongs you, we'll be the first to hold him accountable. But now they prioritize kinship over principles. Uncle and aunt, if what I'm saying is false, you can sue me for defamation. If it's true, you have no right to stop me. Someone who did such things clearly feels no shame. I doubt they'd fear gossip either. My voice turned icy, and they grew frantic. How dare you speak like this? You divorced Ethan behind our backs and swindled so much money from him. That payoff was just hush money. How can you still have the nerve to criticize? Besides, you've been dating for 3 years, married for 3 more, and after 6 years still haven't had a child. Do you know what people are saying about us? They say our family brought home a queen to serve. If you were truly virtuous, why would Ethan divorce you? Girls need to be virtuous and gentle to be loved by men. On the other end, they continued spewing those archaic beliefs without pause. Good grief, when I chose my in-laws, I must have dug them out of some 1950s relic pile. I hit record, set my phone aside, and by the time it finally fell silent, nearly 8 minutes had been captured. I sent the recording to a friend, asking him to help edit out the key parts for future reference. After listening, my friend immediately replied, "You're too soft-hearted. Why didn't you beat that whole family to death?" I laughed. Beat them to death? What for? They should stay alive to keep moving and loving each other. 09. Ethan's wedding took place at the best hotel in our city. Our mutual friends told us that Ethan said Skylar was famous, beautiful, successful, wealthy, and still willing to return to family life. Such a perfect wife would be hard to find even with a lantern in hand. So he wanted to give her the best of everything. How touching it sounds. Truly, the new love outshines the old. On the day of the wedding, I went to the hotel. Indeed, it was far more romantic and grand compared to when he and I tied the knot. Back then, Ethan and I were deep in love and didn't care much for formalities. Everything was kept purely practical. We believe the form doesn't matter, as long as the feelings are real. If I could travel back in time, I'd slap myself hard. How dare you feel sorry for men? How dare you save money for them? Serves you right. Wearing oversized sunglasses, I found a secluded corner to sit in without attracting any attention. Soon, the time came. Under the officiant's direction, Ethan and Skylar followed the ceremony procedures step by step. Skylar's belly was already quite noticeable, making her pristine wedding gown appear slightly bulky, yet she looked radiant. Joyful events bring high spirits, and she was clearly brimming with happiness. As for Ethan, perhaps awakened to a second spring by his beloved wife, he now appeared even more handsome and charming. The two exchanged touching vows, while their wedding photos played on the large screen at just the right moment. But soon, the photos froze, and what flashed onto the screen instead was a gastric cancer diagnosis report. The report clearly bears Ethan's name in black and white. 10. Everyone froze. Those who had been eating with their heads down immediately looked up, erupting in surprised murmurs. The entire hall instantly erupted into uproar. The groom has cancer? Is this medical report genuine? Does the bride know? If not, this is nothing short of fraudulent marriage. Skylar followed everyone's gaze and saw the cancer diagnosis report on the big screen. Her expression changed drastically, her face instantly darkening. Ethan, with his back to the screen, was still engrossed in delivering his emotional speech, but soon he too snapped to attention. Turning to see the diagnosis report, his face cycled through a range of vivid emotions. Cancer? He panicked. Fake. This must be fake. Someone's spreading rumors. Get this taken down now. The scene descended into chaos. Someone rushed to the backstage to check what happened. Ethan's parents were at a complete loss, utterly unable to believe it. Meanwhile, Skylar's parents shielded their daughter, glaring furiously, seeming to forget how they had been praising their perfect son-in-law just moments earlier. The scene descended into chaos. I stood up and slipped away unnoticed amid the commotion. Later, friends who were present told me the wedding limped on, though both bride and groom were clearly mentally checked out. The two wore forced smiles, a distance growing between them, seeds of suspicion already sown. After the wedding ceremony, before Ethan and Skylar could even enter their wedding chamber, they headed straight to the hospital together. The final outcome, needless to say, was that Ethan was indeed diagnosed with stomach cancer. He was hospitalized immediately, while Skylar returned to her own place. Their newlywed home became a cold, abandoned palace before they even spent a single night in it. That evening, while having hot pot with friends, I received a call from an unknown number. The moment the speaker uttered a word, I recognized Ethan's voice. He angrily demanded, "Was it you who sabotaged my wedding?" I smirked. "Who are you?" Silence lingered on the other end for a moment before the reply came through gritted teeth. "I'm Ethan." Click. I hung up the phone. The caller persisted, but I blocked them without hesitation and went back to enjoying my hot pot. Yet eventually, I couldn't quite keep eating. Truth be told, the day I received that stomach cancer diagnosis report, my heart ached unbearably. I spent most of that morning researching everything about gastric cancer, hoping to find an explanation that Ethan could accept, something to keep his hope alive. I even estimated the treatment costs and considered selling the house right away to prepare for it. But in the end, it was me who lost hope. His infidelity completely killed all my compassion. Worrying over a cheating man? I must be insane. Now that he knows the news, I wonder how he feels. Maybe he thinks it's karma. The phone had barely quieted down when another call came through. It was Skylar. Her voice was dripping with venom, laced with bone-deep hatred. "Chloe Miller, you bitch. You set me up on purpose. Hit Ethan deliberately, forcing him to marry me early just to get back at you. You vile creature." Now I was fired up. I cleared my throat, putting on an exaggerated, theatrical tone. "Mrs. Ethan, congratulations on your wedding. I don't understand a word you're saying, but as a person, one should know how to be grateful. There aren't many original spouses like me who generously step aside and let the mistress take their place. You still owe me a thank you." Skylar was furious. "I thank your whole family. Just you wait. You've schemed against me like this, and I won't let it go. You'll get your karma." "Mrs. Ethan," I interrupted her, deliberately emphasizing those 3 words. "This identity was something you pleaded for through countless hardships. What? Now that you've got it, you're kicking the matchmaker to the curb? That's not very decent of you. Besides, it was you who cried and screamed about stomach pains, insisting Ethan stay with you. Now that your stomach doesn't hurt anymore, and you don't need Ethan as your painkiller, you want to dump him? Do you think the earth revolves around you?" I hung up the phone and promptly blocked Skylar for good measure. But beyond my wildest expectations, Ethan's parents actually came to find me at my workplace. They had been waiting downstairs since early morning, and the moment they saw me, they immediately rushed over. "Chloe Miller, did you know Ethan was sick all along and deliberately divorced him to cheat him out of his house and car? You're so young. How could your heart be so cruel? Return the house to us now, or don't blame us for making things ugly for you." 11. They made quite a scene, drawing a large crowd of onlookers. Several of my colleagues were among them. A few immediately shielded me, standing between me and them to prevent any conflict from escalating. Some tried to persuade them not to cause trouble so early in the morning, but they became even more agitated and began loudly denouncing my shameful deeds to the gathered crowd. A colleague was quietly comforting me, telling me to go into the office building first. I shook my head. One can stay vigilant for 1,000 days, but who can guard against theft forever? They'll come to cause trouble sooner or later. If we want them to never dare come again, we have to make them fear us. I started fiddling with my phone, connecting it to the Bluetooth speaker I always carried with me. I deliberately bought one with exceptionally loud speakers, so even during arguments, I wouldn't have to worry about my voice being drowned out. Soon, the voice coming from the speaker stunned everyone present. "Chloe, Ethan just had an affair. Men all make these kinds of mistakes. How come you're the only one who can't accept it? In ancient times, men even had 3 wives and 4 concubines. Who else carries on like you? Don't you dare speak ill of our Ethan again. That house was hush money for you. Stop pretending you're the victim when you got the better deal. Look how wonderful that Skylar girl is. She was willing to bear Ethan's child even before marriage. Now compare yourself to her. No in-laws would want a barren hen for their son. Stop clinging to Ethan. Don't interfere with that couple's marital happiness." Ethan's parents flushed crimson with a mix of anger and resentment. I laughed. So they finally recognized the shame. So they realized how ugly those words sounded when spoken aloud. Back then they must have been so pleased, thinking their son had proven himself by marrying up, blithely ignoring all my past kindness, finding it effortless to prioritize blood ties over basic decency. Now that Skylar's proven unreliable, they suddenly feel cheated for having given me the house. How come they get to have all the advantages in the world? I turned off the speaker and said calmly, "Since you've come to make a scene at my company today, I'll soon be returning the favor at your neighborhood entrance with a loudspeaker. We all know each other inside out. If you can bully me, there's no reason I should still be polite to you. I'm divorced from Ethan. I don't have a single penny's worth of connection with him anymore. If you're looking for someone, you should go find Skylar. The wedding just finished. How could you already forget you've swapped daughters-in-law? Wasn't she your perfect ideal of a good daughter-in-law?" Ethan's parents grew frantic. Having lived here their entire lives, they valued face above all and feared disgrace most. "Chloe Miller, if you dare make a scene in our neighborhood, we'll call the police." The surrounding crowd burst into raucous laughter. "How shameless can you get? When you come to someone else's company to make trouble, you act all righteous, not the least bit concerned about ruining their livelihood. Can't you stand it when others treat you the same way? Ethan's parents slunk away, their eyes filled with fear as they glanced at me. My colleagues all advised me to let it go and not stoop to their level. But I thought about it, if the wolf comes and we don't scare it off thoroughly in one go, it'll just keep coming back. Only by making it hurt will it learn fear. So, I hired a few people. At the east, west, south, and north gates of their neighborhood, they took turns blasting recordings of their own words through megaphones. I heard that as soon as Ethan's parents ran to the east gate, the west gate started blaring. By the time they rushed to the west gate, the south gate started sounding again. They took shelter inside their home and called the police. When the officers arrived, I showed them footage my colleague had recorded of the troublemakers causing a scene in front of our office building. The police officers couldn't help but laugh in disbelief. This is truly a textbook case of magistrates freely burning houses while forbidding commoners to light lamps. In the end, all they could do was give everyone involved a stern lecture before wrapping up the matter. Leaving the police station, I looked at them and said calmly, "I've got money and time to spare now. If you want to mess with me, I'll quit my job and keep you company till the end. But, I'm not sure if you'll still have time to take care of Ethan by then. If you had any sense left in your heads, you'd realize the most urgent tasks right now are treating Ethan's illness and keeping Skylar steady. Your good daughter-in-law may not be willing to have Ethan's child anymore." The couple's expressions shifted, then they fell to their knees with a thud. "Chloe, have mercy on us," they pleaded. "If you don't return the house to us, Ethan won't have money for medical treatment, and Skylar refuses to have a baby. Skylar said she'll only agree to conceive once we get the house back. To prove we can afford to raise a child. At least give us back one apartment, will you? I need to sell it to treat Ethan's illness and save some money for the child. We were wrong before, we went too far. Please, for the sake of our old age, help us. Uncle and Aunt will treat you as our lifesaver from now on. Trying to guilt-trip me? Too bad. I've got no morals to be tripped. Nobody can tie me down that way." I took a step back, hiding behind the police officer, and casually turned on the speaker. This time, I played the abridged version. "Chloe, in ancient times, men could have multiple wives and concubines. You're just a worthless hen who can't lay eggs. This house is your hush money." The officer couldn't hold back and burst out laughing. The two quickly scrambled to their feet, shooting me a furious glare before slinking away. I stared at their retreating figures, utterly disgusted. So it was Skylar pulling the strings behind the scenes. That little green tea bitch. Hiding in the shadows while sending others to charge into battle. Pathetic. Average looks, but dreams big. I removed Skylar and Ethan from my blacklist and sent today's police report to both of them. To Ethan, I also included a recording of his parents verbally abusing me. I sent a message, "Mr. Ethan, should I share today's incident on social media for everyone to see?" Ethan's call came quickly. "Chloe." His voice was hoarse and sounded weak. Probably been through a lot lately. Ethan had stomach problems since college, and I used to be very careful with his diet. But this past year, he and Skylar traveled all over the country under the guise of business trips, eating and drinking without restraint. Yet he still whined to me on the phone about how exhausted he was from work, which supposedly caused his stomach pain. Back then, I felt so sorry for him and urged him to come back for an endoscopy as soon as possible. Now that I think about it, I was such a fool. That bastard enjoyed my care and concern while getting cozy with his mistress. At this thought, what little sympathy remained evaporated instantly. I sneered, "Ethan, how are we settling today's matter?" Ethan fell silent for a moment. "I'll speak with my parents. They won't come looking for you again." "Huh, don't agree so readily. I suggest you discuss this with Mrs. Ethan. She says she'll only bear your child if I return the house to her. Is she carrying my child? Or does she not have a mouth of her own? Or are you just thrilled to have your parents used as pawns?" "Understood. This won't happen again." Uncharacteristically, Ethan didn't speak up for Skylar. Presumably, their relationship had been rocky recently. Two utterly self-serving individuals. When their interests aren't threatened, they'll unite against outsiders. The moment their interests are touched, they'll turn on each other without hesitation. But what does this have to do with me? Ethan was still trying to say something, but I had already hung up. Meanwhile, a reply from Skylar appeared on my phone. "Chloe Miller, it's all your fault that Ethan can't afford medical treatment now. When he dies, his ghost will haunt you forever. Now I don't have money to raise my unborn child either. If I abort this baby, that life will also be on your hands. You even called the police on the child's grandparents. There's no one crueler in this world than you. You'll get what's coming to you." 13. These lines made my blood pressure spike and my eyelids twitch. I wonder how Ethan would feel if he knew Skylar was cursing him like this. I quickly replied to the message, "No way, no way. An internet celebrity with 100,000 followers can't afford to raise a child. Do you need me to start a live stream to crowdfund for you? Ethan is such a good man. Even though he has cancer, you should learn to cherish him. You should sell everything you have to cure him. that would be worthy of your inspirational girl persona. I'm so jealous of you. You and Ethan look so much like a perfect couple. Unlike me, I'll never get cancer in this lifetime. Ethan's parents were even willing to kneel for the baby in your belly. You must be so exceptionally filial that they can't bear to lose you. I've already gotten my karma. Today I counted the money in my bank account and literally cried. When will I ever finish spending all this money? Though you've taken Ethan from me, I bear no grudge. As long as you're happy, your love conquers all. I tried sending another message. A big red exclamation mark popped up. Skylar had blocked me. Huh, what a loser. Can't even hold their own yet still dares to provoke others. Idiot. The following days passed uneventfully. Perhaps when love fails, career prospers. I actually got a promotion and a raise. Before the old boss got promoted, he promoted me, saying that I'm bold, proactive, and full of ideas, the kind of responsible person the company needs. After careful consideration, I think he was probably referring to the situation where I stood my ground against Ethan's parents. After diligently working for 6 years, I actually got a promotion and raise because of a ridiculous farce. I never dreamed it would come to this. And then, unexpectedly, while reviewing the handover checklist, I spotted the company's live streaming sales host roster. Skylar's name stood out glaringly among them. Only then did I realize that Skylar ran his own online store but also took on work as a live streaming sales host. I sneered and said to the secretary, "Take her off the list." What? Why? Trust me, she might blow up in a while. Don't let it drag the company down when it happens. The secretary's expression turned grave as she promptly proceeded to handle the cancellation matters. Soon, Skylar's call came through to my office. Her tone was cautious, carrying a hint of ingratiation. "Hello, may I ask why your company suddenly wants to terminate the contract? Is there something I haven't done well enough? Please tell me. I'll do my best to cooperate." How strange. Since when did Skylar learn to speak in such an ingratiating tone? I said indifferently, "My secretary should have explained it to you already. Perhaps we'll consider working with you again when you hit 1,000,000 followers." I hung up the phone, not bothering to say another word to her, but perhaps Skylar recognized my voice. She texted me back, "Is that you?" I blocked her. That bitch isn't worthy of speaking to this queen. However, in the evening, the secretary anxiously called me in a hurry. "Director Miller, look quickly, that Skylar is live streaming, and she's subtly mocking us." I opened the video and sure enough, there was Skylar pitifully shedding tears in front of the screen. Friends, do you know what I've been through all this time? I was tricked into marriage. My husband concealed the fact that he was already married and lied to me, claiming he was single. He even had cancer, and it didn't come out until after we got our marriage certificate. Why would he team up with his ex-wife to deceive me? I treated him so well. His ex-wife went all out to ruin me. She even sabotaged my livestream sales contract. How am I supposed to survive now? How will I raise my child? Skylar was crying like a pear blossom bathed in rain, her delicate features rendered even more captivating and pitiable by the beauty filter's enchantment. She carefully dabbed away her tears without smudging a single trace of makeup. Countless people in the bullet comments sympathized with her. "This is outright marriage fraud. How despicable. Surely they aren't seeing you making money as a streamer and trying to scam you into paying for that guy's medical treatment? It's highly likely. Just give us the contact details of that scumbag guy and that bitch girl, and we'll help track them down for you. Which company is it? We'll never buy their products again." The streamer is so pitiful. Crying like this while pregnant isn't good for her eyes. Many people were filled with righteous indignation. But amidst the barrage of on-screen comments, a discordant remark slipped past. "That bitch is just back to scam sympathy again. Give me my damn money back." I sent that person a friend request. They replied with a question mark. "Are you here to shut me up? If you want me to keep quiet, pay me hush money, 300,000, not a penny less." I smiled. No, I actually am the wicked ex-wife she was talking about. "Hello, unlucky one. Let me reintroduce myself. I'm that little bitch's creditor, Linda." After talking with Linda, I finally understood. When Skylar first started her online store, she was penniless and didn't have money to stock inventory. It was Linda who recognized her potential and provided her with an initial batch of goods. The product quality is good, and the reputation is not bad. But somehow, not long after, a large number of people started returning their purchases. She always conducted business with integrity, honestly refunding the customer. Later, when she rechecked the returned goods, she realized they weren't the same batch she had originally sent out at all. The packaging may look exactly the same, but inside, everything has been replaced with inferior goods. The mastermind behind this was Skylar. She had ordered a batch of defective products to return to her supplier, while pocketing the proceeds from the genuine goods. Back and forth like this, she lost 300,000 yuan. Meanwhile, Skylar leveraged this opportunity to establish himself, amassing a large following. She sued Skylar over it, but the evidence was hard to come by and the case dragged on endlessly. She realized that aside from occasionally annoying Skylar online, she had no other recourse. Linda's case served as a wake-up call. After carefully analyzing Skylar's sales data, I realized she excels at packaging herself. She hired quite a few fake accounts to fabricate positive reviews. The actual sales figures were hardly worth mentioning, that's why she latched onto Ethan, I thought. She knew well enough that she had little talent for sales, mediocre business skills, and hadn't made much of her career as a live streaming host either. Meeting a promising young talent like Ethan, who earns an annual salary of $1 million, naturally made her unwilling to let go. She decisively used pregnancy to tie him down. And Ethan, that big fool, was probably still proud of his charm, thinking it could make young and beautiful girls throw themselves into his arms. I snorted derisively and forwarded Skylar's livestream video to Ethan, curious what he might think after watching it. Ethan called me soon after. The moment he spoke, that familiar tone came rushing back. "Chloe, I miss you." Hearing those words, I didn't feel the slightest bit touched. Instead, I was utterly disgusted. I heard Ethan is now living in the hospital full-time, unable to work. His former deputy manager position has already been filled by someone else, and his parents are selling their house to pay for his treatment. But cancer is a bottomless pit, tens of thousands thrown in, yet no one knows the outcome. Now he says he misses me, but what he really misses is probably my money. I scoffed. Then how do you explain Skylar's video? He remained silent for a long time before speaking. "Chloe, I might really be dying. The child in Skylar's belly is my parents' only hope left in this world. I understand." Skylar used the baby in her womb as leverage to force Ethan and his parents into silence. She can twist black and white as she pleases. Ethan continued, "Chloe, give that endorsement contract to Skylar. She's just a girl trying to make it. If you can let go of past grudges, I'll give you that last property of mine. Besides, could you let her off the hook? For old time's sake, help me this one last time, alright?" I was so angry I laughed. "For the sake of the baby in her belly, you'd rather tarnish your own reputation and let me take the blame as the vicious ex-wife?" There was a long silence on the other end. At that moment, my heart grew utterly cold and filled with boundless hatred. I originally thought I'd been thorough enough in exterminating them, but now it seems I fell far short. These scumbags want to pin the blame on me. Dream on. I took a deep breath, my voice icy and venomous. "Ethan, I was going to let you and Skylar off the hook out of respect for our past as husband and wife. As long as Skylar behaves herself and doesn't provoke me anymore, I won't touch her. But now, you've brought this on yourself. I can tell you right now, Skylar's limited ability to sell products isn't enough to promote our company's merchandise. She's not qualified. Initially, I had her promote products because of her large follower count, but now that I know her character is questionable and she could blow up at any moment, it would be irresponsible of me to keep letting her do endorsements. Just you wait. If I don't make you two deserve what's coming, that scumbag and that slut, then my name isn't Chloe Miller, it's Miller Chloe. Also, you deserve to die. I wish you an early death and swift reincarnation, so you can snag a prime spot in the animal realm in your next life." I hung up the phone and began to execute my counterattack plan. To prove his innocence, Skylar deleted all of his videos, but long before the day she contacted me, I had already paid someone to record all her videos. I enlisted the help of a video editing friend to craft several concise and punchy short videos based on the timeline of events, complete with text narration that clearly and succinctly explained the entire situation from beginning to end. Inside were screenshots of our conversations, photos of her flaunting their love, recordings of her cursing, and videos of her inciting Ethan's parents to cause trouble for me. It wasn't until 3 days later that this matter was finally settled. During those 3 days, news about the vicious couple conspiring to deceive a female streamer in a sham marriage to raise funds for the husband's cancer treatment had spread everywhere. Someone interviewed Ethan's parents. Ethan's parents admitted to all the false accusations and didn't defend me once. They kept repeating, "The child is innocent. We hope Skylar won't play games with their own health." My phone was flooded with countless vicious messages, forcing me to turn it off and change my number. Someone even called my company, demanding that I be fired. Skylar also had people call the company, their tone dripping with smug satisfaction. "Our Skylar is still willing to promote your company's products, only now, we're raising our prices. During the live streaming sales process, we'll explain everything clearly and keep your company out of any wrongdoing. However, we won't be able to coordinate with Chloe Miller's side in the future. We hope your company can understand this." The company replied, "We'll consider it." Naturally, this consideration meant whether to fire me or not. But after all, I've been with the company for 6 years. Everyone has witnessed what happened to me, and they all know the whole story. If the company chooses to compromise, though understandable, it would inevitably lose people's trust. Fortunately, my former supervisor was promoted to vice president of the company. I went straight to him and laid out my entire counterattack plan. My old leader listened with a smile on his face. "Chloe," he said earnestly, "this move is a bit ruthless. When the time comes, make sure you don't hesitate." I let out a bitter laugh. "Don't worry, if I show any mercy, then I'm not Chloe Miller. And if I still can't win this way, I'll take full responsibility myself. The company's reputation won't suffer on my account." The old leader nodded in approval. "Good that you're not letting emotions cloud your judgment. Since we're going to do this, let's make it big." Just when the hype around this incident reached its peak, my counterattack video dropped. The company seized this as a marketing opportunity, reaching out to several influential bloggers to distribute the video while fully reimbursing my promotional expenses. Additionally, the company hired a team to register over 200 video accounts overnight, all dedicated to posting this same video. This overwhelming video promotion generated far more buzz than Skylar's original video. The follower count on these video accounts skyrocketed rapidly. At the end of each video, I added this line: "I'm grateful to the company leadership for not believing rumors and placing their full trust in me. This is the kind of company I'd love to follow forever. What about your company? Would it stand by you when you face difficulties?" This statement seemed to resonate with many people. Countless users, after venting about scumbags and cheaters, began sharing how their own companies had kicked them when they were down during tough times. This immediately elevated our company's image to a more sophisticated level. As for me, I went from being an unknown to gaining sudden popularity, with countless people hoping I'd come forward with an official explanation. After discussing with the company, we decided to go live as well. In the first half of the live stream, I explained my situation without embellishment, just straightforward narration, with sincerity as the main focus. Later, I began promoting our company's products. I didn't talk about their features, but instead asked people. Some say sharing is an act of caring. If you had a pack of our Glow brand Sesame Crisps, who would you most want to share it with? Do you miss that perfect seaside dinner during your vacation? You might not be able to go to the beach whenever you want, but you can always open a pack of Glow brand sea salt chips to taste the ocean's flavor. They say an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but I say a Glow brand snack keeps your troubles at bay. That day, I gradually hit my stride and spoke with increasing enthusiasm, and the goods in the live stream sold out quickly. During the backstage settlement, I was told I had achieved the best sales performance in the company's history. My heart raced wildly, no less intense than falling in love all over again. The entire company was jubilant, delighted not only by the new sales record but also by the fact that my name had been completely cleared. The company's video editor didn't slack off either, quickly editing clips of my live sales session to keep the momentum going, attracting yet another wave of fans. Some busybodies even made comparison videos between my and Skylar's live streaming sales clips. My approach was refined and captivating, while hers was all screaming and shouting till hoarse. Many questioned whether Ethan had lost his mind, wondering why he'd settle for such a tacky woman. Though it's unkind to tear someone down to build another up, I couldn't help but feel my vanity swell a little. The company gave me a few days off to rest, but I wanted to capitalize on the momentum, so I joined another girl from the company to do a live stream sales event, aiming to solidify our fan base while the hype was still fresh. If we could build our live stream room's reputation, it would save us a ton on future sales commissions, and managing our own platform would be much more convenient. Skylar, on the other hand, wasn't so lucky. While I was redeeming myself through sales, she thought victory was in the bag and rushed to get an abortion. By the time the surgery was over, her phone was flooded with countless abusive messages. Only then did panic set in. In a frantic rush, she started a live broadcast from the hospital, tearfully lamenting how pitiful she was. Sadly, this time the flood of viewers entering the livestream had come solely to scorn her. Her livestream lasted just 5 minutes before she hurriedly shut it down. At the same time, Linda held up her ID card and began posting online accusations against Skylar, exposing how he had deceived her and swindled 300,000 yuan worth of goods from her. More people who had been cheated by Skylar in the past also started holding up their ID cards to accuse her. As the edifice crumbled, crowds pushed it down. Suddenly, Skylar became a rat scurrying across the street that everyone shouts to beat. The matter was eventually brought to a close with police intervention. Skylar had just been discharged from the hospital when she was summoned to the police station, and Ethan was furious. He changed his number and called me, immediately starting with accusations. "You want money? I'll give you money. You want a house? I'll give you a house. Why must you still drive me to utter ruin? Don't you know? The child in her belly is my only one." He probably sent me that picture of himself looking utterly frail after surgery just to make me feel guilty. I took a careful look and couldn't help but sigh. Though Ethan was a man, he was extraordinarily vain about his appearance. He paid meticulous attention to his image, always keeping himself clean and fresh-faced, maintaining a youthful look. But now, in the photo, his head was shaved, his face deathly pale and terribly weak. In such a short time, he'd become as gaunt as a skeleton, radiating a heavy aura of death. Although the cure rate for stomach cancer isn't low, it's often discovered at an advanced stage. Even after surgery, the 5-year survival rate remains as low as 20%. Whether he'll be among the fortunate survivors, no one can tell. But if he thinks posting a few pitiful photos would make me feel guilty, he's being naive. How could I possibly show mercy to an enemy? I said coolly. Ethan, when you allowed Skylar to slander me, you should have anticipated this day would come. You simply don't get it. Skylar never had any intention of keeping your child. She was afraid your family wouldn't let her off easily after she aborted the baby, so she escalated the situation to claim the moral high ground. Once she secures that moral advantage, she won't hesitate to terminate the pregnancy. Yet you keep indulging her, thinking you can negotiate terms with a fox. How utterly naive. The culprit behind this whole mess is you. You've never understood women, yet you still tried to play both sides. You deserve this karma. Ethan remained silent for a long time before hanging up the phone. From that moment on, he never called again. As for Skylar, she ended up losing all the money she'd earned in recent years to repay those creditors, and was ultimately jailed for fraud. She filed for divorce from prison, but Ethan and his parents loathed her so intensely that they deliberately prolonged the process, insisting she must return all the money she'd swindled from Ethan before any divorce could proceed. Their mutual backbiting and infighting had nothing to do with me anymore. 2 years later, Ethan couldn't hold out against the spreading cancer and passed away. A friend sent me the location of his tombstone. I went. The photo on it was from his university days. Back then, he was a good young man, and I was a good young woman. We met on campus, harboring the purest emotions for each other, carrying the most beautiful hopes. They say that every 7 years, all the cells in a person's body are completely renewed, making them a completely different person from who they were 7 years ago. We didn't even make it to 7 years. In just 6, we had completely changed. I think it's probably because we weren't devout enough about marriage. But no matter what, death ends all debts. Everything is in the past now. As for Skylar, after being released from prison, she thought the internet had no memory and tried to reclaim her career as an influencer. Unfortunately, the moment she went live, people began criticizing her, reposting the long exposé from back then. In the end, she had no choice but to seek another path in life, vanishing into the vast sea of faces. As for me, I continued working diligently, got promoted and raised my salary, and became a livestream sales host, gradually gaining some reputation. Many people say they love my sales hosting style, and even if they don't buy anything, they enjoy chatting with me. Through this incident, I've come to realize, in the internet age, gaining fame is easy, but so is encountering trouble. Most importantly, one should never attempt to exploit anyone. Instead, we must always maintain an authentic heart, staying true to our original aspirations and never losing sincerity. Only then can we truly walk the long road ahead. The end.